The difficulty of mayogana. In English, if you want to make the sound a, you write the letter a. In Japanese, if you want to make the sound sa, you write the kana sa. However, in mayogana, if you want to write sa, you can choose from any of these 11 characters. And some kana have over 20 corresponding mayogana. Sort of like imagine having 20 letters that make the sound a. Shi, ne, and ha are even more complicated. Shi and ha have over 20 characters. So to memorize these 4 characters, sa, shi, ne, and ha, you've already had to memorize over 50 kanji in the readings. On top of that, shi and ha share a character, meaning that that character can make either one of those 2 sounds. At the time in Japanese, there were 50 sounds, meaning you'd have to memorize several hundred characters just to be able to read a poem. So if I wanted to write the word hashi, or hashi, meaning bridge, or chopsticks, depending on the context, I'd be able to choose any one of the characters from the upper row and combine them with any other characters from the bottom row. This means that there are over 500 possible combinations of these characters to simply write one of these 2 words. Imagine if there were over 500 ways in English to write the word bridge. Now that we know that, all we have to do to read mayogana is to find the corresponding kana for each kanji. Let's try and read a poem from the Manyoshu. This is an elegy, poem number 200. So, in the box outlined in red on the right, we have tried to find the corresponding kana for each of the kanji. You will notice that there are question marks. This is because not all kanji have an associated sound. Not all kanji were used as mayogana. So if you were to find the corresponding kana for each of the kanji, you would not only have a sentence that makes no sense, it would be impossible to read, as it would be incomplete. So, on the top, below the poem, there are the corresponding hiragana written for each of the characters, or more specifically, for each of the words. In order to read mayogana properly, you'd have to be able to distinguish between which characters are used to represent meaning and which characters are used phonetically or as grammatical devices. For example, the first yellow character on the left looks like an English letter Z, is actually read as no, and is a possessive particle. It does not have meaning. It simply indicates the relationship between 2 objects. The following 2 yellow characters are also particles or grammatical devices. And the characters that are listed in white on the left are actually the ones that bear meaning, which is written on the right in English along with the reading in hiragana. This is poem number 200 from the Manyoshu, and it is an elegy dedicated to the dead prince Takechi no Miko, written by Kakinomoto no Hitomaro. Even though you are ruling over the heavens, because it is you, I will continue to admire you forever. It's difficult, but try to piece together the words on the left to understand the meaning. This is why modern Japanese is separated into kana and kanji. The kanji represents meaning, whereas the kana, in yellow, represents phonetical usage or grammatical devices, which makes it much easier to read. If we were to continue writing in mayogana, it would look like the sentence written at the bottom in red and yellow. We do not need to spend time distinguishing between meaning-bearing characters and phonetic characters, propositions, etc., because the language does it for us, by keeping the meaning in kanji for the most part, and writing the rest of the phonetic-bearing characters, particles, etc., in hiragana. That poem was quite short. With a bit of effort and time, you could probably read it yourself without me having to show you this guide. However, imagine reading an entire book, such as the Manyoshu, which would be composed of several hundred compositions like this. This was so difficult that even the Japanese people of the time decided that it must be simplified. And that is why now we have kana and kanji.